All right, well then I would love to have Maureen Hussey come up. She is next on the list. She is a patient representative in the Neurocognitive Working Group. And we thank you for talking about the patient perspective. So, yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you to all the REiNS leaders for asking me to speak. I'm here to represent all of us. As has been said, there's about 30 of us participating, and I'm glad Dr. Plott can confirm that it is a steep learning curve because many of us feel that way, and we're very early on in the journey. So I'm no expert on this, I'm beginning. But we did think it would be helpful for you all to hear from one of us what our experience has been so far. Oops, sorry, got ahead of myself. So I think we all agree that patient and caregiver input is essential to the process of developing recommended outcomes for clinical trials. And I think so far, this has been another really positive way for me as a caregiver and for the patients that are participating to be involved in the journey to end NF. And I'm going to steal from Trace Ann. I don't know if she's here from this morning, in her really nice opening to the day when she said, "My voice matters in research." And I think that that is really true in REiNS. This has really made us feel like our voice matters and we can represent our children, and then those that are our patients can represent their voice together. So more specifically, I think the reasons that jump out at me as a patient representative are that the endpoints are more relevant to patient quality of life, which as a parent, that's what's most important to me, is ensuring that my child has the best future possible. The second, it leads to increased trial participation by patients. So if we have relevant endpoints, people are going to be more willing to participate, which gets us closer to the end goal, which is effective treatments and hopefully an end. So a little bit about the road to becoming a patient representative. We've heard some about it. We received invitations to apply last fall, and we're asked to do a couple of things, sort of like applying for a job, only not nearly as complicated. Develop a personal letter with skills and experiences we thought lended themselves well to representing patients and to patient advocacy, which really wasn't that hard because I think most of us do it every single day. Whether we're a patient or a parent or a family member, we're constantly doing this, so it was just a matter of putting it down onto paper. And then second was doing a letter of reference, personal or professional, it really didn't matter, but someone that knows you in a way that they could speak to thinking you would be effective in this role. The next part was assigning working groups, which I think was really key here. And as we all know, the manifestations of NF and our individual experiences vary greatly. So REiNS really took those into account when they were trying to pair us up with working groups. And in my case, our daughter Maggie has been most affected by pretty significant developmental delays, severe ADHD, processing and executive function. She really is mildly intellectually disabled. So neurocognitive is something that's really on our minds as parents. And there hasn't, as Karen said, there hasn't been a ton of clinical trials in this area, so I jumped at the chance and I was really relieved that I was asked to be in this group. We received our invitation to attend the REiNS winter meeting, and my husband told me I should say, "Aren't these kids cute?" They are. Sometimes. So how did we get started? We were invited to attend the meeting in DC. It wasn't a requirement, so I don't want that to prevent people that can't travel or unable to, I don't want that to prevent you from being interested. It wasn't a requirement. It was great for those of us who are able to, but a lot of stuff is done via teleconference and via email. So we went up there to DC. We had a great day, day and a half. We received just a more detailed introduction to REiNS. What are patient-centered outcomes? New terminology for all of us, so we learned a lot about that. Why engage patient representatives? Some of what you've heard earlier from Pam and Dr. Plotkin. We also were assigned our working groups and had some initial, we learned about all the different working groups, which I think was really important. At that point in the day, I think we all had sort of a deer in the headlights type look. But again, steep learning curve. A lot of this was new terminology, and I think Annette said it in one of her openings this weekend. It's like learning a new language. So we were hearing a lot of terms we weren't used to, but everyone has been very helpful with the training part so far, and as you'll hear from Dr. Gross, it's really a major part of what they're doing to train us. We had our first breakout with our working groups, so we could hear more about where they've been, where they're going, meet their leadership, left with some materials, et cetera, and then also did some initial brainstorming about funding and training and all those important things. And as Dr. Plotkin said, we meet monthly separate from our working groups with him to just check in about how things were going and to deal with some of these initiatives separately, which is another about hour or so. And I know when you spoke, you said 2 to 3 hours a week, I think accidentally, but I don't want anyone to be concerned. 2 to 3 hours a month, 2 to 3 hours a month, yeah. Before I close, I'll just talk a little bit about what it's like to be a patient representative on the Neurocognitive Outcomes Working Group. We've just really gotten started. Again, it's only been 6 months, but we've done a couple of exciting things, which makes me excited for what's coming down the pike. We have done some reviewing of common neurocognitive measures that are used by psychologists for when either patients or caregivers, parents, receive when someone's being tested. Measures is one of those technical terms. It's the survey or questionnaires that we all fill out in different formats when our kids or you're getting tested. So I personally, since I don't know how many dozens I've done in the last 6 years, I was really glad to give some feedback on those. So that was quite exciting. And I remembered as I reread them, I do remember filling them out and thinking at the time, this one is really hard to understand, or I remember really liking this one, and this one I think was getting to the heart of what my daughter is like. So at that point, I was really able to make the connection between my experience as an end user, so to speak, and participating in this group. So, and at that point, we did fill out some research, some feedback forms about usability, understandability, relevance, and I will say it was really exciting. I thought they would be interested in what we had to say, but the clinicians on the call were super excited about our feedback, so we were glad about that. I think they were really excited to hear what we thought about them. And finally, they did ask us to help with planning for today in terms of our working group's plans for their presentation and goals for the breakout sessions. So that's all I have to say. It's been a really exciting journey. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that no one's intimidated by it. I don't think that you should be. So as openings come up in the next couple of years or sooner, or contact Trace Ann, I think it would be great to take advantage of it, especially for the patients, definitely. Okay. No, exactly.